Here's the thing that I was thinking about, and then I fell down a hole and I spent another couple days thinking about it. The year is 2002. Everything is stupid and sucks. We're in one war, we're getting ready to fight another war.
Osama bin Laden.
George W. Bush is president.
God bless.
The economy sucks.
The stock market tumbled.
Perhaps most disturbing of all, though, Details magazine was still a thing that existed. And that's where our story begins. Bobby Valentine, who was the manager of the Mets, a baseball team, he was asked an innocuous question during like a round of Q&A shit in Details magazine. Reporter asked him, do you think that a major league clubhouse is ready for an openly gay player? And Valentine said, very innocuously and in a very politic way, I don't see any reason why not, as long as, this player plays hard and whatever, contributes to the team. Which is the answer that everybody has been giving to this question for going on 20 years now. When this story is getting ready to come out, somebody from Page 6, which is the New York Post's kind of like embedded gossip turdlet. That person wrote a story. It was a blind item, but it was like a barely concealed blind item that Valentine's statement was perhaps smoothing the way for a player on his team to come out as gay. This Page 6 item, which was kind of like long for a Page 6 blind item, went on to unfold another sort of local celebrity, a TV weatherman who was rumored to be gay. The item rumored that this Met was in a relationship with the weatherman, also closeted and gay, and that they'd in fact bought a house together in a Tony suburb. In a rare bit of journalistic actual practice, the item then noted that the writer had checked to see if any houses had been sold to people like this or to anybody in that suburb, and he couldn't find any evidence of it, but still, the story is circulating. I would say, even by New York Post standards, the single shittiest bit of journalism that I've ever encountered. And it stuck. It was clear that it was supposed to be about Mike Piazza, who is the star catcher of the Mets, but was, for whatever reason, maybe because he had great hair, dogged by these sorts of rumors for much of the time that he was in New York. Valentine is upset about the fact that this story's been written and that it looks like he put one of his players on blast or expose them or whatever. The GM, Steve Phillips, also very upset. They addressed the media, complained about the Page 6 item. And then, at some point, Piazza himself says to the media when somebody finally asks him, are you gonna address this shit? He says, no, I'm not gay. And if I was, it wouldn't be a big deal. I just want to get on with playing baseball. And then it blew over. Like, that really was kind of it. The story disappears for 10 years. After he retires, Piazza writes a book in which he finally addresses it. And he says stuff in there that kind of echoes stuff that some of these reporters told me, that basically his agent suggested that it would be a good idea for this to be a thing that he talked about. And then he further added, this is the part that's the Mike Piazza touch. That's why it's always great to have normal-ass jock guys be at the center of every story. He went on to say that if I was gay, I would have been out about it. In fact, I would have been gay all the way. Which is his actual phrase. What he then goes on to say is that gay all the way means that Mike Piazza would have been exactly as good at being gay as he was at hitting homers. And he was like really good at hitting homers.
Yeah, there it goes. Mike Piazza, a 3-run homer.
Anyway, that's the story of how Mike Piazza came to address the assembled media and say, I'm not gay.